welcome to the Athletes Are Human First podcast. We have a special guest today. I'll go ahead and let her introduce herself.
Okay. Hi, my name is Ameela. I currently play in the WPBA on the Bay City Blaze. I graduated college from the University of the Pacific. I went to high school at Piedmont High School here in the Bay Area. And now I currently work for the athletics as their senior financial analyst.
Awesome. Well, thank you and welcome to the podcast. So when did you start playing basketball?
I started in sixth grade. I played every other sport coming up in grade school, but never basketball. And then it wasn't until middle school where I actually took it seriously and actually started picking it up.
Nice. What other sports did you play growing up?
You name it: soccer, volleyball, softball, anything honestly that kept me active and exercising.
Is basketball still your favorite sport, or do you wish you played some other sports, or?
No, I definitely think basketball's my favorite.
So, I mean, high school, you went to Piedmont High School, always a ton of talent there. Let's talk about kind of your experience at Piedmont.
Yeah. So I went there my last 2 years of high school. I started off at Oakland Tech and graduated from Piedmont. It was a great experience for the most part. My junior year, unfortunately, I had to sit out my entire junior year, which was a bummer, especially when it comes to recruiting and playing at the next level. But senior year was really when I kind of got my shine and had great teammates around me, a great coach that got me to where I wanted to be and playing college basketball.
Why'd you have to sit out your junior year?
Transfer rules back in the day, CIF, NCS, just denied us playing.
Yeah, so it's pretty interesting, right? CIF, I feel like they pick and choose which ones to go harsh on and which ones they kind of just let through. Uh,
Definitely.
Unfortunately, it sounds like you were one that had to sit out the whole year. I
Yeah.
mean, what was that like? Obviously, you didn't know you were going to have to sit out
Yeah.
probably prior to transferring. What was
Yeah.
that like for you, and how did you kind of handle that as a junior in high school?
It was really tough. I think that was definitely one of the things that got me mentally prepared, whether that was, for my senior year, for next level of college basketball, and even in the pros. It's just like hitting that adversity and realizing like you really got to stick to it, stick to your craft, knowing that I wasn't going to be able to suit up. We actually didn't find out until like almost the last game of regular season where we're like, oh, you guys can't play. But during the whole season, we were actually like warming up with the team and acting as if I was gonna get the call like right before the game, like, hey, you're clear to go. But it didn't end up happening like that. And so I definitely, create a lot of mental toughness within myself and knowing that I have a lot to prove and to try to, get myself out there and the exposure for myself my senior year.
So then you probably almost became a coach then at that point, right? As a junior in high school, uh,
Yeah.
unplanned. But what kind of things did you learn as just sitting from the bench watching, knowing that you couldn't be on the court to help your teammates out, but you were still part of the team and still wanted to see them be successful?
Yeah, the most important part was being very vocal, whether that was in games, at practice. And practice specifically is just going hard 100%, 110%, pushing my teammates who were playing and making sure that I was making them better each and every day by, through the reps and drills, whether that's on scout team when we were playing other teams. I think that was super important, and knowing that just because I am not necessarily playing in the next game, that I had to go hard, regardless of what that looked like.
Yeah, and that probably helped your team tremendously, right? Playing against a player that obviously super talented, but also understanding like the scouting and the scout report and kind of how to prepare for games. Did you play AAU your high school throughout high school?
Yeah, I played for a couple different teams, like independent teams that you probably wouldn't know the
Got it.
name of, but it was all with my high school teammates.
Okay. And
Yeah,
then talk about senior year. So
yeah.
you finally get to play.
Finally get to play. Go in with all right, it's now or nothing. Definitely the first game back was like kind of jury nerves, all that, but we still had a good tournament showing at Cardinal Newman, I believe, was the first tournament. And then kind of just doing what I do and what I've worked so hard to prepare for and showcasing what my abilities and what I'm able to do, whether that's driving to the basket, creating for my teammates, my 3-point shot, and just really being confident, I think was the most important thing coming out of senior year.
Yeah, Cardinal Newman, I believe, still hosts that tournament at the beginning of the season. So that's always a great tournament that Coach Monica hosts. And so, what are some of the memorable games you had in your high school senior year?
I would say that first one for sure. I'd say maybe obviously the last one didn't end the way we wanted. I think we got to the NorCal
NorCal
championship,
finals.
lost to Brookside Christian up at American Canyon. So that was a tough one, but for us to be able to get there says a lot about my teammates, coaches, and just the hard work that we put in to get to the final game before state. Honestly,
So that was against Ari McDonald.
that was yep,
So obviously now I'm playing with the Fever. What was that game like? That had to have been just crazy atmosphere.
yeah.
What was that?
Yeah, yeah. They obviously had some great athletes. Ari McDonald. I think they had a post player who ended up playing college, and then obviously I had my teammates. Unfortunately, like one of our key players weren't able to make that game due to other school priorities, which didn't help. But it is what it is. We still take that as a very core memory of our senior year to this day. And the funny thing is, I actually played Ari McDonald my college senior year and played her in the WNIT like second round. And so she kind of ended my season, high school and college, which is crazy.
I mean, how did you went to play at Pacific? How did that, what was the recruitment process like for you? Was it,
I actually didn't really get heavily recruited as a senior in high school, even throughout my season. I talked to a few coaches. They were, they expressed the interest, but nobody really ever fully offered me. It wasn't until after senior season, probably in like early April, that I talked to Coach Bradley Davis, who's still the coach at UOP, and he, was like, "Hey, we're really interested. We want to get you out here on an official visit. We'd like to meet head coach Rob Lynn, Coach Lynn, who's now the coach of the Sparks. Um, we want you to get you out here and figure out if this is a great fit for you." Went on my official visit, and they threw the offer right then and there, and I maybe signed the following week. So it was a long process, long journey of waiting, thinking I possibly wasn't going to play basketball in college, and I dealt with that reality for a short period of time where I was like, I'm just gonna go be a regular student, and it's okay.
yeah, so I mean, I mean, obviously basketball was probably your life and not being heavily recruited, was it always like, I want to go D1 or I don't want to play at all? Or was it open to like D2, NAIA, JUCO? Was that a possibility? Or was it always like, I want to go D1 or I'm going to just be a student?
I think all the other options were possibilities, but I knew that in terms of education, I wanted to make sure it was a school that fit me and what I wanted to study. So if basketball didn't necessarily translate over to college and like getting a full ride, I was gonna deal with being a regular student, and that was gonna be totally fine.
Yeah, I think that's hard for some of the students too now, right? Because they play their junior season of AAU and they're hoping for their offers. And then if they don't get it, still being patient and still doing what they need to do in their senior year,
Yeah, for sure.
there's always offers that go out after senior year is done, similar to how you got the UOP. So I
Hmm.
think just letting athletes know that it's okay if you don't get the offer your junior year going into senior year, you can wait until after. And colleges are still looking for kids even later on
Yeah, definitely.
in the process.
Yeah. Yeah, I think seeing a lot of people just in my class around me, like, committing, signing, doing all these things all throughout the senior year, and like not having to worry about that, it kind of hit me a little bit. It was a little difficult at times. Just thinking like, hey, maybe I'm actually not good enough to play at the next level. So there was always that little piece of doubt in my mind. But my Coach Brian, he did a good job of like keeping my confidence up, knowing that something was going to come for me at the right time.
That's awesome. So talking about UOP, um, going into freshman year, what's that like? What's the transition like from high school to college?
Yeah. I'd say it's definitely a lot more focused and being intentional with your time. Being, taking college courses and having three-hour practices, hour lifts every day, and squeezing your classes and homework time in between and studying. That's a tough battle to kind of juggle. So it's definitely staying disciplined. And then obviously the pace of the basketball game is obviously way faster. People way stronger. you got people 3, 4 years older than you trying to dog you at practice, and just knowing they want the best for you, but at the same time, that's where you got to kind of prove yourself as well in practice.
So 3 hours of practice at college. How much did you work out like in high school? What was like your workout routine like in high school before getting to college?
Yeah, workouts are every day. Maybe Sundays were off, but I still took it upon myself to get cardio in, whether that's running over at Lake Mirror, the stairs. Those are my favorite place to go. Going to the track, just staying active because to me, I told myself, if other people are taking breaks, now's the time for me to kind of take one step ahead and kind of get myself in front.
So freshman year, how does that go for you at UOP?
It was honestly pretty solid, I'd say. Playing time wasn't as much as I was used to, obviously, like playing the whole game in high school and stuff like that, which you kind of expect. But, there was kind of one break in the preseason where the starting point guard at the time got injured. And I was actually able to fill the starting role. And like I did well in that stint of 4 games and got player of the week. So like that was really, good on my confidence and feeling good. Like I can actually produce at this level and play with everyone here.
Yeah, that week you had, I think it was 12.6 assists, 12.7 assists, and 10.9 assists. So in a 3 game stretch as a freshman and then winning West WCC Player of the Week, that had to be huge for your confidence. Going into it, you probably weren't playing as much as you maybe wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
But then, so how do you stay ready as a freshman, not getting the minutes that you maybe have hoped for or wanted, but
Yeah.
just still kind of waiting your turn and figuring out that opportunity?
Yeah, I think at college it's really like just be ready when your number's called. And a big part of that is like even though you necessarily aren't going to play every game or play more than 10 minutes a game, it's the out of practice workouts you do on your own, skills, the cardio, the conditioning, like all that. I took up on myself. Same as in high school, in the summer preparing for college, like just being ready right when you step on campus. And so, when we had games and in between game days, starters would get kind of a lighter load, whether that was in the weight room or in practice. It was still important for me to do the extra conditioning, cardio, get extra shots up on the side on my own time, just to make sure I was ready when coach called my
And then so freshman year, about 13, 14 minutes a game, which for a freshman now, I think that's really good.
number. Mm-hmm.
And then sophomore year, went up to like 17, 18 minutes a game. And
Yeah.
then junior year, when you had your huge leap and then you got the starting spot. So what was that like for the first 2 years, and how much work did it really take to get the starting spot, your junior year?
Yeah, I mean, just kind of my core principles of being an undersized guard. I've always had to play fast, and I've always had to use quickness to my advantage. Whether that was pushing in transition on a fast break, that was being a pesky defender on the other end and creating opportunities on my own. Whether that's through steals and help defense and just edge recovering, all the principles that we talk about in a college system. And so just finding those opportunities for me as an undersized guard and using it to my advantage. And I think probably end of sophomore or mid sophomore year, I think that was when coach was kind of like, hey, we like playing fast. And so that's kind of this shift in kind of our offensive focus, which later junior year, senior year, that was like, we're going to play 2 point guards at the same time. And it definitely worked out in our favor because we like to play fast, and it definitely translated both offensively and defensively.
So junior, senior year, you're playing 34 minutes a game, which is it's a huge number, obviously. Tell me about what that was like your junior and senior year in college.
Yeah, I mean, that was when my teammates and coaches really started to trust me and trust having the ball in my hands majority of the game, and just knowing I had that stamina. I always come back to my cardio. I always come back to my conditioning. I can play the 40 minutes a game and not get tired, but I think it was really feeling that confidence instilled in me from my coaches and knowing that they trust me to be out here for the entirety of the game and be able to produce at a high level.
Yeah, and then senior year averaging almost 4.5 assists, top 15 in the conference, or top three in the conference, sorry. Um, how did you make that adjustment? Because I imagine in high school you were probably you could be more of a scorer. How did you make that transition to college where it's like your assist to turnover ratio is like 1.8, which is really good, and you seem to become more like a facilitator on top of scoring, but you're also willing to be a facilitator and lead your team like that.
Yeah, I mean, I think in high school, you get when you're able to get to the college level, you're kind of the player. You're the go to. In college, everybody was the go to in high school, so
Right.
everybody plays at a high level. So just being surrounded by great athletes, great scorers who maybe do it better than me. So like being able to facilitate and pass to them for them to get the easy buckets, like it made my job a whole lot easier, and it just made it a whole lot more fun to play with them.
So you were a willing passer in college. It wasn't like, hey, you need to take less shots and be more of a passer. That was just kind of what you wanted to do.
Yeah, I wanted to do that, but then my coaches were also like, "Look, you can be aggressive too. Your matchup, like this tonight's your night. You go at her, like sort of thing." So
I mean, you still had some big games. You had, I think, 27 points your first game of the season, senior year.
yeah, you see Davis right there.
So, I mean, scoring 27 in a game, how do you want to become more of a scorer? Like, hey, I could do this every game if you wanted me to, coach, or is it like I kind of take what the defense is giving me, what team is giving me? Because I think nowadays everyone wants to score, right?
Hmm.
And by showing you can score 27 points, but then you still ended up, being huge on assists. What was your mindset for that?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't necessarily like after that game be like, oh, I'm going to be a 25 point scorer like this year. Like that didn't cross my mind because I knew like I had a great game that week. The next week, my other teammates were going to have a big game. And it was just finding the hot hand every game. You're not going to shoot well every game of the season. So it's just learning to navigate and balance between the two was super important and important for me to learn, honestly, as I progressed to play overseas and then obviously now still in the WPBA.
How did you balance academics? Because UOP is very high academic. You were a conference all academic team as well. How do you balance the academics and the basketball side of it in college?
Yeah, I mean, really staying disciplined and knowing like you got to hold yourself accountable. I mean, you have resources to also like coaches are also trying to hold you accountable and allotting study hall hours to make sure you get work done. But at the end of the day, it's just you wanting to make sure you get this education for yourself while also being able to be here for basketball and receive a basketball scholarship.
Yeah, basketball is a great tool to receive an education, and for those that are fortunate enough to get their school paid for, they can't forget the academic side of it too, right? Because we are student athletes, and
Absolutely,
so
and
we still have to be.
they definitely still track all your grades and stuff. If you're not doing what you're supposed to do, you're not playing, you're not touching the court.
It's not like high school where they kind of just push you through, right? You actually are held accountable in college.
Yeah, absolutely.
So after college, did you want to play overseas? Did you think your basketball was done after college, or what made you decide to play overseas?
Yeah, I definitely wanted to explore the opportunity if there was an opportunity. And luckily for me, I was able to play in the top league in Hungary, right there in the capital. I stayed in Budapest. I played there the one season after college. And kind of going into it, I was like, all right, I'm going to do this for 3 to 5 years, play professional ball overseas, see how far I can take it, and call it. But the craziest thing is like after the first year, like the basketball wasn't great. The team like weren't winning many games, but the experience just being in Europe, being able to travel, experience different cultures was an amazing thing. And it was tough because being overseas for 6 to 9 months of the year, that was something I couldn't do. I realized quickly I was like I am so homesick. And then on the flip side of that, it's you have to kind of work your way up with your resume in order to get paid. And I was like, I'm not making nearly enough. I think I'm gonna have to start working my corporate job.
So then you come back home after a year, and then start working, and then the women's PBA comes up.
Hmm.
Tell me about that and kind of how that's been going for you.
Yeah. I think I got back in 2020, right around COVID, right before COVID started. So I don't think we started the league until 2 years after that. So I was kind of like, all right, I still want to play basketball. I still have something in the tank, but there was only like pro am and rec leagues here and there, and playing at Bay or 24-hour fitness, like things like that. And I was just like, this isn't really it. And then, Fatima, the founder of the WPBA, like she started this league and was like, hey, are you interested? Like, I want you to, bring people that you know and want to play, and obviously bring Coach Brian to help coach a team. And I want to make this thing big in the Bay Area. And I think that was right time and right opportunity for that to come about.
Yeah, I mean, I saw it from when it first started, when she started it 3 years ago, and to see where it's at today with there's so much talent. She's doing an amazing job. Hopefully, it becomes like the G League for the WNBA, right? So,
Right.
um, also, you're fresh off of back-to-back championships.
Yes. Yes, that
So
was
congratulations on that. I
thank you.
mean, just tell me what that's like being able to play in a league like that with so much talent, but also having so much success in winning back-to-back titles.
Yeah, like you said, like each year it's progressed and gotten a whole lot better, whether that's talent, whether that's the production side, the social media, just the exposure for women's sports is huge right now. And we've kind of been riding that wave this past season and wanting to just kind of do a big for the Bay. Like there's so much talent here that needs to be showcased. And, this is a great league to help players freshly out of college kind of get overseas, stay active and on top of their fitness, and just be able to help them get overseas, create a network and community of women that have been there and done that and can provide guidance to the next generation.
So after the championship last year, you guys had an amazing opportunity to play international.
Yeah.
Um, how did that come about? How did you know you wanted to be a part of that? Let's talk about that experience because I kind of got to follow from afar, but that looked like such an amazing, special experience for everyone.
Yeah. When Fatima came to me and said, "Are you asked if you're interested in going to Colombia to play in this FIBA tournament?" I said, "Hell yeah!" Like, there's no like, I wouldn't pass up the opportunity. Only if I was like physically like not able to or didn't feel comfortable. But like I said, I still felt like I had a lot in the tank and still do. So I, was prepared, and definitely she pulled me and a group of a group of other women, and we're able to go down to Colombia, compete, win pool play the first round, and then was invited back down for obviously the second round of the championship round. So that was an amazing opportunity that not everybody gets to experience.
Going undefeated in pool play, right? And then you go into bracket play. What's the atmosphere like playing overseas in a FIBA event like that?
Yeah, I was so just in awe of the production of everything and how organized, and the lights, the cameras, the camera crew, like everything was just spot on point. And then obviously playing in arena like that where the Columbia home base, their fans are amazing. Like obviously they're cheering for their team when we were playing them, but even off court, like the fans coming up to you wanting to take pictures, get autographs, that was an amazing feeling for real.
And then there was also a documentary based on that as well. Do you want to talk a little bit about that and the premiere that's coming up here?
Yeah, it's streaming on the Bench app Thursday, August 21st. It is about a 1 hour documentary that covers our journey and our trip down to Colombia both times, as well as kind of the off court stuff where we got to experience the city of Medellin. So I think rewatching it at the screening last weekend, it kind of brought me chills of just bringing me back to those moments of that trip. So I can't wait for everybody to see that.
What was your favorite memory of just playing overseas, playing in the FIBAs? Like, what was just something you'll never forget?
Yeah, I think I would move back to the fans. The fans are crazy, ridiculous. They come to games with blow horns and tambourine. Like it is just a crazy atmosphere that it's great to be able to play in.
And so now you're working with the Oakland or Sacramento A's,
They're not Oakland
not
anymore.
Oakland, back over to Sacramento.
Yeah.
So what do you do with that team, and kind of what do you have in the future for you?
Yeah, I'm a financial analyst for them, so I'm on the FP&A side. I basically do their budgeting and forecasting, all the money we spend, all the money we make, kind of handling that on the day to day. And then I failed to mention I also help Coach Brian, assistant coach at Piedmont High School. So been with them, the girls coming in and out of that school for the last 3 to 4 years now. So they kind of keep me young and kind of still in the high school basketball scene in the Bay.
So Piedmont obviously has tons of talent, a lot of college prospects that go through Piedmont. What's it been like coaching high school for you?
Yeah, it being able to kind of bring my expertise and knowledge, everything I've experienced, and kind of sharing it with the younger girls, kind of giving them tips and pointers. Like, look, I know you feel strongly about this, but look, I'm gonna need you to change your mindset a little bit and kind of keep an open mind because I've been where you've been before, and kind of the successes and failures that I've had to experience and navigate. Like I definitely want to be able to share that with them to kind of get them ahead in the game.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's huge for them, right? Having someone who has been there and done that and everything that they're trying to achieve, you can already say like, "Hey, I've already been through this road. I've been down this road already.
Hmm.
Kind of have some of the answers to the test here. So if you're
Yeah,
willing to listen,
yeah,
I could definitely help you out and get you to that level that you want to get to."
for sure. Yep.
What are what are some of the biggest things that you can give advice wise to high school athletes who either want to just play in high school or they do want to play in college? What can you give them for some advice?
Yeah. I'd say a lot of it is like the unseen hours. You practice maybe 1 to 2 hours a day with your team during season, and in the off season it's you play club or maybe you don't play AU. But it's really the extra time you put in outside of your regular practices. And then also just being willing to learn and being willing to accept knowledge from people all around you. You're going to come across a lot of people in the basketball world who are trying to tell you things that are going to help you later down the line. So I think just being willing to be a sponge, accept it, and kind of build that knowledge up.
Yeah, that's awesome. If there was like one thing maybe that you wish you knew earlier for yourself as like a player, what would that be?
Hmm. Um, I would say probably not to get down on yourself so much. There's a lot of times and a lot of experiences that you go through within the high school basketball season, which is or AAU, and you might get up and down whether you're not playing too well one game. Like I think it's really important to be able to bounce back and know and be confident in the work that you put in. Um, outside of the regular practices you do, and know that and trust and believe that you were meant to be here if you put in the time and hours.
Yeah, I think that's awesome. Just, trusting the work you put in, right? Like you do have to put the work in, but if you are doing that, your time, your opportunity will come. Everything will work out. It's not the end of the world if you play one bad game.
Right.
We watch a lot of kids now, and it's like I don't know if they're having fun playing basketball.
Mm-hmm.
And watching you play for the women's PBA, it's like this is what's supposed to like. You're having fun, you're enjoying the game.
Yeah.
I think maybe as you get older, we kind of appreciate things a little bit more and have kind of a different perspective on the game. And it would be nice for the kids to kind of see that too, because high school, it's an amazing opportunity, amazing experience, and some of them don't necessarily enjoy it.
Mm-hmm.
So I think they're kind of just taking that opportunity for granted. They're kind of missing out on an opportunity to really enjoy their high school experience.
Yeah, and just knowing that another thing is like knowing you can impact the game in so many different ways. It's not necessarily just scoring. It might not necessarily show up in the stat sheets. Like defensively, you can be a pest on defense. You can be a monster on the boards. You can be really good at taking charges. Like those don't show up necessarily on the stat sheet, but there are things that college coaches really look for, and kind of just is very important to know that you are willing to sacrifice your body for your team like that. I think that's huge.
Yeah, we talked about we were coaching AU this past spring and summer, and some of the best games were when they weren't scoring.
Yeah.
And the parents are like, "Oh, you didn't score, you didn't play well." And I'm like, "Really?" Because that's actually one of the better games that they've had, and that's actually what college coaches want to see from a point guard.
Yeah,
Distributing the ball, setting up their teammates, playing defense. It's not all about scoring.
because it's a lot of times like your highlight tapes. Yeah, you're gonna send out highlight tapes to college coaches, and it's all gonna be mostly scoring and passing. But it's like, what else? What else do you bring? Do you bring energy? Do you bring the support with your teammates? High fives? Are you bringing good
Mhm.
attitude? Things like that.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. Okay, so a couple quick questions before we let you go. What, who are the couple of best players that you've played against?
Okay. Um, because we talked about her earlier, Ari McDonald's probably one of them, just because I played her at all levels, and now she's doing a big time in the WNBA. Who else? I would say Erica McCall is probably one of them. She plays in the WPBA, and I actually played against her in my one season in Hungary. And me and her actually just talked about it and realized, like, hey, we actually played against each other way back when. And back then, I only knew her as this WNBA star, like pro, like veteran. I'm just like,
Yeah.
and kind of starstruck, honestly, before the
Yeah.
game.
A shout out that you miss playing or you haven't seen in a while. Couple of
Oh, this
team.
one's gonna. I can't shout out everybody, Brian. It's gonna leave people off the list. Teammates from this season, obviously, we were able to secure the back-to-back championship season in the WPBA. I'm also going to shout out my WPBA team from last year, having the undefeated season, capping off with the championship, and then just overall, um, my UOP family. I think being able to kind of bring a couple of them on to this league and being able to play with them again was a full circle moment. But definitely, yeah, there's a lot of people that I want to shout out that I've played with or shared the court with, and it's just awesome being able to be a part of the basketball community. And you never know where you're going to see folks again in different walks of life.
And then what's next for you basketball wise?
Yeah, I mean, playing in the WPBA for as long as they're going to be in the Bay Area. I don't necessarily think anywhere overseas at this moment. But yeah, I look forward to continuing coaching high school basketball. I enjoy being around the younger generation, my group of girls specifically. So yeah, that's probably where I'm at.
College coaching?
I don't really see myself coaching in college, honestly. Yeah, I don't know if anyone can change my mind.
Stick to high school and keep playing.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Well, again, I want to thank you for being on the podcast. Inspiring story. You're going to be inspiring the next generation of athletes, but also still continuing to play yourself. So just want to say thank you for coming and sharing your story.
Thanks for having me, Brian.